I just really don't understand the point of working.
Oh my God! Has anyone seen the obituaries?
No, why? Who's it?
Refugio Martinez.
Oh my gosh.
So what was he?
He was a union organizer. He used to travel from our Chicago packing house to packing houses in different states to help unite the laborers for different unions.
That was his way of taking a stand against the awful working conditions faced by the packing house laborers throughout the 1930s and up to recent years.
Yeah, he used to communicate the grievances of the Hispanic workers to other workers in the packing houses and to the awful bosses.
He really made a difference for us.
Sounds pretty bad. What were conditions like back then?
I'm the butcher. It's my job to slaughter the animals. 101, bad. I'm not exactly working in the cleanest place in America. 102, bad. I mean, come on, we're killing animals here. 103, bad. I'm always up to my ankles in blood and guts. It's disgusting.
Throwing is my job. I get the final product and throw it into the trucks for shipping. My job isn't so bad, but there isn't a sense of stability. I mean, you never know. 1 week you're working 17 hours, and the next maybe 7. And that's if you get any hours in. So you find yourself painting your manager's fence in your spare time, or giving them the inspector a pack of smokes that you found. You know, anything that will guarantee you see some factory time.
My job consists of pickling the meat. I consider myself lucky, though. The girls in the sausage department have to get the casings ready, while other girls have to wash the carcass or scrape lard off the floor. Yuck. But that's not the worst part. Women like us get paid less than the men do for doing such a degrading job.
In order to keep the meat from not going bad during shipment, my job is to keep the cuts as cool as possible. It is hard work, but it is always us Hispanics who are stuck to it. I've heard about these units and saying how they can help us, but with my English not being so good, how can I have a voice?
Laborers of Swift Factory. Too long have the Swifts pounded you, raped you of your labor, making slaves of you. The Packing House Workers Organization Committee, formerly known as the United Packing House Workers of America, is here to liberate you. Do you know what our biggest accomplishment has been? It has been the bonding together of the different nationalities. Irish, Polish, Black, Mexican. Before, they did not even speak to one another. But now, we are one. And my fellow Mexicans, do not be afraid of deportation. Since the Mexican-American War, we have made up 30% of this packing house community. We have a big voice in this station. Do not be afraid. Take a stand against fear. Join the union.
Wow, I remember back then. Those were harsh conditions.
Seems pretty bad.
Yeah, he really helped everyone, especially the Hispanics, who really didn't have much of a voice without him, as far as this whole union thing was concerned.
He must have been really involved. Doubt he had much of a personal life, though.
Well, it says something about him leaving behind a wife and 2 daughters.
Well, I heard he wasn't very involved with his family. I heard his wife left because of his negligence.
I can't take this anymore. We can't live like this.
Listen, this is important to me. It's important to a lot of people. I wish... Oh, just go on.
You know what? Do you realize that I cannot take care of these children on my own? You're never here. We cannot live on your income alone, and I cannot even find a job myself. Do you know why? Because I am being framed. Framed by the government.
You're not being framed! Listen, this is important to me. It's important to a lot of people. I wish you could understand that.
Oh, I understand perfectly. You care more about other people than you do about your own family. And you know what? You can do this on your own, because I'm leaving.
I can't do this. There's just no way I can take care of these girls, give them a stable environment. All right, I'll talk to my friend Les. He's always willing to give a helpful hand, and he has daughters their own age.
Sure, no problem. We'd be happy to take them.
Thank you. With everything that's going on at the factory, there's just no way I can help you take care of these girls.
Yeah, you know, if taking care of your daughters means I help you take a stand in the factory, then that's the least I can do to boost up the conditions in the factory.
So, what else does the obituary say?
It says he was deported back to Mexico after his latest trials.
Trial? Trial for what?
Don't you know anything? He was facing communist charges for his affiliation with the organizations for the packing house industry.
Yes, it was handled by many courts throughout many years, and finally, on March 22nd of 1953, they get an order to deport him back to Mexico, although he hadn't set foot there in more than 20 years.
The deportation trial of Refugio Martinez, the Honorable Judge Krause residing.
Please be seated. Will the defendant please state his name for the court?
My name is Refugio Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, it says here on our files from previous hearings that you have been arrested previously. Will you please let the court know when you were arrested and what charges were brought upon you?
I was arrested in, I think, 1937, and I was charged with communist activity.
And where did this take place?
In Chicago.
Thank you. The presiding inspector may now begin his questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Martinez, is it true that you were a member of the Communist Party?
Yes.
And where did you join the Communist Party?
In Chicago.
And in what year?
In around, I think, 1932.
Thank you. Counsel may now proceed with the interrogation.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, at the time you joined the Communist Party, what opinions did you form as to their opinions and views?
At the time, I was interested at first of helping my fellow Mexicans who needed help in relief and welfare, and I was learning how to go about that.
And how do you think your membership in the Communist Party become an asset to the needy Mexicans?
That was, I would go to the Washington Park forums and see how the communists would go about helping them in terms of that relief and welfare.
And why did you cancel your membership with the Communist Party?
I realized it was a political party, and I myself, not being a citizen of this country, did not want to have anything to do with a political organization. When I learned that, that's when I dropped everything. I did not know what it was when I joined.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The trial caused a lot of controversy.
Many people were very outspoken about the issue.
What'd they say?
He's a communist. What more do they need to get rid of him?
He was a communist, but that wasn't grounds for deportation during his membership in 1932, not until the Immigration Act of 1938.
He is not taking his stand. He is provoking a rebellion.
He has given us the courage to join the union. We all have families, and he cares for them. Our bosses don't.
He says he didn't know what the Communist Party was. Lies. He's a deceiving democracy hater.
He loves this country. He sacrificed his family and his reputation for doing simple missions like putting flyers in our shoes and lockers. And he faced beatings from the police for doing so.
He has not faced brutality. The police were keeping the streets safe. Believe it or not, we fear too.
He lives in constant fear of deportation. 50,000 Mexicans are being deported every year. Yet you say you're afraid?
During the Depression, it was okay for him to be here because you benefited from his labor. But now that we are in a state of recovery, you want to get rid of him just because he's taking a stand and making things better for his community.
He is a menace to the packing house industry.
He has given us a voice.
He is a red.
The deportation trial of Refugio Martinez is coming to a close. We will now hear the closing statements from the inspector.
The presiding inspector may now begin with his proposed order, now having heard the arguments on his plaintiff.
Thank you. It is recommended that the accused alien be deported back to Mexico at government expense based on the charges listed in the previous warrant of arrest.
Wow, so you mean he's really gone?
Yeah. It says here he died in the first week of May, which wasn't long after he was actually deported.
Boy, the packing house industry really lost a great individual who took a stand for its workers.
On April 28, 1953, Refugio Martinez was deported back to Mexico. The next week, his life came to an end, as did his endless hours of fighting and organizing.
Nobody got paid to be an organizer. Everybody was an organizer and did their share.
Refugio Martinez did more than his share. Despite personal problems and problems with the government, he was able to take a stand for a cause he believed in.
His stand was a labor of love and sacrifice.
Refugio Martinez's legacy stands as proof that there really are inspirational leaders who have taken a stand in history.